Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Fireside Chat for The Wizard, the Witch, and the Wild One, Arc 1. That's right, we are going to be covering everything in the first 14 episodes.
Wait, Erika, what the heck is a Fireside Chat?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Brennan, because a Fireside Chat is what we call the little episodes that we record after our show airs and put onto our Fireside, which is what we call the Patreon, so that the algorithms on social media don't kick us off.
A little peek behind the curtain.
That's very funny.
Gotcha.
I didn't know that's what
Is that and because it's a lot cuter. Come on.
How to use branding to trick the machine over mind.
Yeah.
Brought to you by Erika Ishii.
All these little tips. If you would like to talk about your OnlyFins, that's what you call it. Or you put a little @ symbol or something instead of the A.
What if I want an actual spicy accountant?
I mean, you can do that, but just know that the algorithm might bury your request for one.
Just go to H&R Block and just rub pure capsaicin all over.
Yeah, I want a guy who's like, your 1099s are all over the place.
For your OnlyFans? Oh, you want what?
There's a term that is used by some OnlyFans creators where they call themselves a spicy accountant.
Oh, spicy accountant.
Yes.
Yes, that's right.
And
That's right.
I was saying I want a literal version
I
of
mean,
that.
you say accountant is like definitely been a term for Anyway, I'm Erika Ishii. I'm here today joined by Aabria Iyengar.
A hoo-hoo and crackle to you all.
Now, what is a hoo-hoo and crackle?
If you were part of this beautiful fireside, you would know that we have a bunch, honestly, too many sign-ons. These are some of them. And now you can say them and act like you've been in the know the whole time.
Brennan.
That's me. I'm Brennan. Hi, gang. Thanks so much for coming by the Fireside. We're so happy to have you. And I'm so excited to jump into a big old breakdown, recap, answer some awesome questions from fans over by the Fireside for Chapter 1, the first 14 episodes of The Wizard, the Witch, and the Wild One.
And the last person on mic here in the room with us is...
So something you have to understand is that the actor and voice actor Lou Wilson, who normally voices Ursula during the podcast, does not attend most of the firesides because he is circumventing the Americas. He's currently
circumnavigating, perhaps?
He's circumventing. No, he's dodging him.
He's dodging them left and right. He is circumnavigating the Americas. So I am here in his stead. I will be chatting. I understand a lot of what he was going through while playing Ursula, so I will be explaining that and speaking on his behalf. And my name is Jonathan Venus.
Yeah, Jonathan Venus might sound a lot like Lou Wilson.
I sound a lot like him, which is part of the reason.
But I want you guys to know that that you are hearing Mr. Venus.
Brennan Lee Mulligan has his hands
You
over
can just
his
call
eyes.
me John.
Massaging the orbitals of his eye sockets.
And is there a hefty chance that after listening to the preludes in the first 14 episodes, this is the first time you're hearing an episode of just the four of us talking? And by the four of us, I of course mean Aabria, Erika, myself, and
Jonathan Venus.
Yeah.
Not Lou Wilson.
No.
Yeah, for sure. It's probably your first time doing that. But the important thing is Jonathan is here in Lou's stead. And if it feels confusing, you gotta get by that Fireside.
Let me tell you, for $5, this all makes a lot of sense. But we're excited to come out here and introduce the public to what it's like to be by the Fireside.
I mean, this plus even more unhinged nonsense.
Yes.
Especially.
We stay on our bullshit on the Patreon.
Oh, it's so good.
It's good.
So good. We're here for more than just an advertisement for our incredible deal of a Patreon that only costs you $5 a month to be by the Fireside.
I think we could cross it off.
All right, okay, we cross that off.
Much.
All right, put it on the board.
You can't see this. We are all wearing houndstooth jackets,
Yes.
like 1980s car dealership, like being like, Crazy Eddies, come on down right now. Everything's gotta go.
The room is filled with those inflatable...
Wacky waving inflatable arm guys. Yeah.
If you listen, you can hear them. There they go.
There they go. It's a beautiful sound.
My mom said she wants to have one of those at her funeral.
Amazing.
To point
Respect.
people to the venue.
Does she want it like a jet black one, like in
No,
mourning?
she didn't
Like a sad one?
specify. I
A
think
sad
she
one.
just wants one to point people to her funeral.
Also, a sad one is just one that's not
Yeah.
inflated, right?
Yeah.
It's just one that is laying.
Yeah.
You could do one with it kind of is like puffs, so it sort of like flails and flops and like someone like wailing
Yeah.
in mourning.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Oh.
Save that for your independent film.
I want one just in case, like, so I can know when an alien gets close.
Oh, Nope is so good.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's
Yeah.
so good.
Together.
I had a full moment of being like, what the fuck do you mean?
Kiki Palmer.
Key.
But on this Fireside episode, it's just completely on the rails. We're going to answer all of the questions that you asked us.
All of them.
All of them. Yeah. That was good. Actually, first of all, how we doing, gang? How we doing? Hey, how we doing after our first arc? And actually, we have completed the second arc and are planning on our third.
Ooh, yeah.
But now that we've actually heard, because we don't hear all of the episodes much more than maybe a day before.
Seconds.
Yeah,
before
a
you all get
day,
it.
2 seconds before you all get it. And it's our first time sometimes hearing the full mix
Yeah.
and the sounds and the songs. Now that we've heard and revisited Umora and these characters in our first arc, how we feeling, Aabria?
I'm so deeply in love with this world and like our little troika of troublemakers and the ways in which it doesn't quite feel right to call them a party yet, but there are people that are like tied together by something and they're like discovering what they love and who they are to each other and to the world in real time. It's just such a beautiful way to start a story that feels like we're going to be here and we're going to see so much from these people. So like, let's see a good and exciting beginning. I'm just feeling really grateful, and I think you guys are just the absolute best.
Oh, there's a really good question from Zach Turner. Thank you so much, Zach. What is your favorite moment of someone else's from Arc 1?
Ooh.
He provided examples. Example, Aabria, what's your favorite Lou moment?
Oh my gosh. Well, it feels really easy to say that the level up
God.
of like Ursulon embracing himself and his power and like the thing that he knows in his heart that he has to do. It was just the coolest thing. And I think I was actually like a little misty in the studio. Like, please, just this is so good. And it was so powerful. And to praise Lou specifically, Jonathan, please pass this on.
Of course,
you.
I take copious notes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There's just a moment after everything begins with his level up where you hear what this deeply internal character, like what all of this means to him. And it's just one of my favorite like monologues I've ever heard in a story, period, not actual play or narrative play. It was just gorgeous.
Wow, I can't wait to tell Lou that.
Yeah, and Mr. Venus, did you got a chance to listen?
Oh, I'm by the fireside. I listen to every episode. I'm all the way in.
Lovely. So, how are you feeling about the conclusion of this arc?
Good. I think this. I mean, it was. It's one of those things where when you start something, you can have a bunch of thoughts about what it'll be, and you can have a bunch of thoughts about what it'll feel like. And I think when it asks as much of you, and you are excited to give as much of yourself, and the people who are participating in it are excited to give as much of themselves as was given in this space, in this setting, I think it like really went above and beyond in terms of like depth and breadth from like what I ever expected this to be. I think it was way, I think there's a big part of me that's like, I thought we were just gonna play D&D, and we did.
Yeah.
We did something else. Like it's true. Undeniably, we did something just that I don't have a precedent for in my head.
Okay.
I never 14 episodes in, it's like, I'm sorry, this is how we start?
Yeah.
It took us 14 episodes to get to level 1. I mean, that alone. I think there's just so much here that I can't wait to continue to dig into. Or go ahead.
I was going to say, and Arc 2 feels like, that's the funny thing is we're doing this Arc 1 wrap up with the second chapter right around the corner. And we know the exponential amount of how the world grows and expands.
Unbelievable. I
So
can't
it's
believe
like-
he did that.
Oh, yeah. It's like a whole, we go full Tesseract.
Yes.
Yes.
4-dimensional cube, baby. Let's go.
And I think just to throw it back to you, Aabria, real quick, when I think one of those moments, those touchstone moments when I realized how deep we were going to go is when you killed Captain Emless. I think it's like there was a full, like, I don't know. We had the campaign had been so fun and at times sad, but then everyone was supported. And that was just a cutthroat, dirty, nasty moment that was like, oh, okay. So we're in the mud. We are not afraid to have our characters to experience everything. And I think Brennan has said it many times, we're not afraid to do something nasty and then figure out how we're going to clean it up and put it all back together.
Ham, how are we going to clean up all this ham?
Exactly.
Bit janitor, help.
There you go. The Bit Janitor is something that you can find on our Patreon.
Now we check the box. Yeah, Brennan, there are a lot of questions here for you, including from May. What were your favorite things to plan for in this arc? Because Lou is talking about how we planned for things and how man plans and God laughs. So,
And you're in many worlds, Umora's God.
yeah. What made you laugh?
Yeah.
What were you excited to plan? And then what were you excited to laugh at?
I don't know if that expression means that God is the man laughing at his own plans, where he's like, God, you're crazy for this one.
God, you're wild. Damn, God.
I'll tell you what.
That's very funny.
They can only see a little bit of the light.
I'm going to give the rest of the spectrum to Shrimp.
Shrimp. You
Shrimp.
go. That's how God says shrimp.
Yeah.
Shrimp.
Shrimp. God in his infiniteness. Shrimp.
Do crawdaddies also? No.
Dang, y'all, I'm he that is called I
No.
Look at that. We made God Creole. All this and more.
am. You know, when there was only one set of footprints, that's because I'd gotten in my fan boat.
Oh, God. Bayou Christ.
By you, Christ.
Now, listen here, Shy.
The Father, the Son, and a big plate of gumbo. Now I'm on this. This is just this.
I mean, that's you get. I tell you, when you find a lane so beautiful, it's the clarity of it, right? It's just like Bayou Christ is like, oh,
There you go.
That's what the BC in dates means.
yes.
Got
Yeah, I immediately just started thinking about, okay, so 25 Bayou Christ.
25 Bayou Christ. Well, gang, laissez le bon temps rouler.
Hey.
Hey now. My favorite thing to plan in Arc 1. Well, I think that there is the coming together of the group at Ursulon's fair.
Don't start this, because we will fight again.
It's the
It's funny.
It was gonna be funny. When we talked about it in the supermarket at our first camp, it was gonna be funny.
This is an amazing part of the process where it really is to discover after the fact that you were like, this is going to be hilarious. When you pitched the character, I was like, wow, the most tragic man of all.
We're now rehashing things. Now you're watching a married couple fight yet again.
I paid $5 for it.
I didn't
Daddy
leave
and
the
Daddy.
dishes in the dishwasher. Yeah.
Daddy and Daddy are fighting at the table.
Will someone think of us?
Well, I think the favorite part of sort of my favorite thing to plan is probably number one, knowing that we were going to see our three heroes in their disparate worlds and watching them come back together and rejoin. That was very fun to plan. And then I think also a lot, basically, chapter one is sort of can be carved into two halves. The first half of which is an introduction, I think, to the deeply personal worlds of the main three characters. And then there's sort of the first place they adventure to, which is the second half of that chapter revolves around Port Talon. Planning Port Talon was very, very fun. And kind of being like, what is our landing pad for an area of the world that has witchcraft, wizardry, and the world of spirits commingling and touching, and then an indication of what normalcy is and also how things are changing. So you have Port Talon, you have Will Gallows, you have the crime, you have what's going on with the wizards and the Imperium, and then also seeing a world that exists in time. Like there's a world building thing that I love is always to come to a place where something is different than it used to be. I feel like you get more texture when you get to Port Talon with the wizard walls and the kudzu and the witch fires.
Yeah.
And you go like, yeah, we're going through something right now. Like you didn't arrive in our neutral state. You can infer our neutral state by how we're reacting to the presence of something new. And I think it's also a good thing for PCs and storytelling in general, for PCs to I think it feels a little bit weird when I'm playing a game and the world, especially when I'm playing a low-level character, if the world is like, oh my God, well, you're the biggest deal thing happening here. It's like being at a party where everyone turns to look at you and you don't know anyone there. You're like, this is not a good feeling. I don't want the whole, I'm first level. I don't want the whole town to look at me. It should be normal for someone with a cloak to walk into a tavern. Please don't all stare at me. So the idea of getting to Port Talon and having big things happening with the derrick in the harbor, the broken stone face, the Ace of Wands, Finley's shop, the witch fires, there's something that I think is what I look for in those fantasy worlds that was fun to plan for, of you get to a place and you are the agency and the point of view rather than the focus of all these NPCs. You get to go exploring. It's not the setting exploring you.
Everyone wasn't waiting for you to show up in town and go, oh, shit. Wait, things could be different? Like,
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it a lot in the formation of the world and the stories we wanted to tell about how do you prevent an adventuring party from feeling like colonizers.
Yeah.
Pretty much like to put a kind of fine point on it. Yeah, because the idea that you come in and suddenly you can be the hero that will save this town. Like, well, why wouldn't they, the people who live here, know best?
Yes.
And I think you did an incredible job of giving us each little anchor points that gave us either history in the town, like with Ursulon, or, status in the town, like with Suvi, or just like a reason to be there and like a unique skill that is useful in just exactly this instant with Ame.
Yeah. That's a very, just shout out to you. That's a really hard, needle to thread of having the world care a little bit that you're there. It's important that this group was here at exactly this time. The events unfolded the way they were because we were the exact, catalyst for a lot of things popping off. But yeah, it's very hard to do. It's easy to say this world exists for you and therefore will care about you above everything else. But to make a world that's it's very much that feeling of you arrive as an adventurer and the entire setting is just you're here, great. File in, we're doing shit. You're a part of what's happening.
And we kind of do have Steel as the universe telling us that, of being why did you go run off on your own? This is a supremely stupid thing that you did. I told you not to, just truly being the voice of reason against adventuring in general. The Empire hates adventuring. Like, honestly, yeah.
Steele hates that she's in a D&D game, and
She
that's the
does.
funniest thing in the world.
She's the only one that sort of knows it. Sometimes it's like, just sometimes I feel like people are acting in their own self-interest, not because they're selfish, but because there's some sort of story they want to be telling.
Yeah. I think that there's like, first of all, I deeply appreciate that. And I think too that there's something that I always think about of like the stories that really matter to me that are from this fantasy kind of genre. It is that like there are elements of gaming that create the groove that the marble is supposed to go down. So you play a video game or you run a D&D module and there is a slot left for adventurers. Like, here's a tavern that has a table open for people that we don't know who they are, but they're going to come in, they're going to be violent, they're going to have weapons, and they're going to have magic. And there's a problem that nobody here can solve. And it's like no one's responsible for it, no one's solving it, but ambiguous X-shaped strangers will show up and solve it. And you can feel the absence of that, but when you're consuming a story, like a movie or a book or something like that, often the world is represented as like, you watch old like Ghibli Miyazaki things, and it's like, before Sen shows up in Spirited Away, the bathhouse is working fine. She shows up, and her problems are her own, and it's like, hey, you
just happens to be there.
You happen to be there. So the idea of if you three were not there, what would have happened, right? Mara would have Naram under the derrick. Orima would continue to try to break down the walls. The Empire would find out or not find out, right? Like Moro would get attention or not get attention. Yeah. Or, Naram also, we discover, has the ability to break out, but not without hurting the people of Port Talon.
Yeah.
And you, like, in all of this stuff, it's like, if you don't arrive, it's like something like the steam would break out of a valve maybe a year later or 10 years or something else, like something would happen, right?
Mm-hmm. Arthur's moving out for sure.
Arthur's
moving out. Ghost of Flicker, stay chilling.
Yeah. Arthur
How's
the
Arthur
innkeeper.
doing? I love him.
I think he's doing great. I think the gold pieces were huge. And because one byproduct of the actions you took is that they don't have to put the witchfires back because Orima retreats because Naram is free, which means that they can reopen the gate and those villages can, there's a big public works project of getting the kudzu out of those villages and
make rope.
Make rope. But I think that the looking at all of that, the world building there, it's like the Empire does its thing without you guys there. The spirits do their thing without you guys there. And from what we've seen of witches, we have Ame, who basically the only like we see Grandmother Wren, and it's like this one person who seems to be dedicated to almost like a form of heroism, an interest, like a sort of witchy form of it, of like, we speak for both worlds and we try to mediate and bridge the gap. And so like you doing your thing is like going to the city and being like, oh, there's conflict here, let's see if we can ameliorate it.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. I loved it so much.
It's just so fun because I think the big power fantasy in D&D, for me and for all of us, we're here to tell a story. We're here to sort of have fun with our friends, but it feels good to have agency in a world and to be able to affect it in positive ways and to feel that weight. And it's really hard to do that without being like, well, the world is you are the center of the world. Because then it's a different power fantasy when it's that, I think.
There is that like, and there's a lot of great tropes and genre things that do express the kind of like, oh, here's your connection to the core problem of the world and why you're supposed to solve it. And what I love about a lot of the media that we used as the inspiration for this world and story is specifically that it can start reasonable and small, where it's like, well, you solved the problem. Like you're saying, it's like, what was the problem that Ame was trying to solve? It's like, you discovered that there was a problem with the spirit. You had the vision in front of the Ace of Wands. Something was wrong. You learned about Naram and Orima, and Wavebreaker was the sword, and you found that in the library. And so you go, in other words, it's not like it's not like the never ending story where someone's like, the boy to save our world. You're like, I'm the only witch I see here. And I found out that this is going on, so I guess it's on me. And every character had those moments for Suvi, it's very much like what was Suvi's arc was, I needed to say goodbye to Grandmother Wren. When I got there, her passing had this incredible magical ramification. My method of communication broke. We needed to find this sword. And the first chance I get, I'm like finding these guild mages. And that could have been where I could have rested, except that I saw a fucking wild one pinned to the bottom of the ocean. And then my friends ran into the kudzu. So it's like
Quest fever.
Suvi's just like, can we just check things off on like a list? I feel like you're starting a new thing, but we haven't finished the other thing. And maybe I think I need to go to therapy.
and then for Ursula too, like the quest fever of it all is fun to me. There's something about the idea of telling an epic story, like, I know I always go back to it, but like Frodo is supposed to bring the ring to Rivendell.
I don't understand what you're saying. What is any of these words?
Okay, all right. You've seen the first two.
Have I?
Yes.
I don't remember anymore.
I love that Frodo's not a chosen one. Yeah. I love that Frodo is the ring. Your uncle found the ring, and then he retired and left, and a wizard told you, hang on to this. I don't know exactly what it is. And then the fate of the world popped off, and it wasn't that you have the secret shard of whatever in your chest and you're the golden boy. It's just like, shit, man, it's you or it's nobody.
Yeah.
And I think that is a beautiful thing that all of you have done expertly well, of having heroics, and not just choosing to do heroic things, but choosing to resist doing heroic things, which has made this first arc so relatable and human and awesome.
Thanks. What about you, Ame? Erika?
Wow.
We can't escape it.
Dang it.
Oh, gosh. I mean, this character is something that has been knocking around in my head, I guess, and just sort of like percolating for so long, I think. Not specifically Ame and how she is, but just, I mean, the whole reason that Brennan, built this class with the designers and sort of collaborating, I kind of made a wish list of things that I wanted. And at first I was like, I want to be able to do this. Oh my God. Yeah. There was like the Scheherazade thing where I was like, the idea of telling stories, and that sort of like has a magical effect maybe. And then we thought that would be too self-congratulatory. Unlike this podcast where we're talking about our storytelling.
Movies about LA, baby.
It's true. But the idea of a witch, crafting in consequences is the thing that I always said, that I have written in the front of my notebook. And I loved the idea because I love D&D. I've been playing it since I was 14, I want to say. And I have always wanted to play with a group that is just completely story forward and not about that sort of power fantasy, because that's well and good, and I love home games with that. But I wanted to tell this story where, it's so easy to become a murder hobo. We talked about this in one episode about being a murder hobo, and that's because you don't have an attachment to the world, and you don't feel like there are consequences, and you don't have to live with them. And I think there are some other characters that I've played in other worlds where having to balance all of those idea of consequences and care for community was like, well, that's a difficult thing. And that's something that I struggle with in real life. So how can I explore that? And it just was like, oh, witches are about consequences. You do not want to cross a witch, otherwise you will be cursed in ironic and sometimes funny punishment commensurate to your wrongdoing. And they are part of a community. And we said that witches live in a little village, and they're, it's like, oh, the witch, she lives in that cottage or she lives in that tower, and they have these what became sanctums. She's there and she's part of the community. What would make, that's why you don't see witches adventuring, really. They're not very mobile, most of them.
Yeah. I think it's very the sanctums thing is really fun. It was very fun to explain how witches are geared towards being an NPC class.
Yeah.
That you want to see them. They're not and again, to me, adventure means the most in a world that's not made for it. It's the idea, like the greatest hero is the one that is not walking down the paved highway to adventure, right?
Yeah.
It's like, no, the brambles in this forest do not want me to venture here, and yet here I venture.
Yeah.
Wait, I want to answer Zach's question because I have favorite moments for all of you.
Oh!
I'll whip through it really quick.
Okay.
Aabria, it's really easy. Lightning fucking speed, heartbreaking, heart shattering. My dad.
Yeah.
My dad was so good. It's because it was so fitting that it was one of Suvi's last moments, given where she starts in the preludes.
Yeah.
Because so much of the arc was this incredible lift from Aabria of the kid we saw in the preludes, and who exists, by the way, in the Children's Adventure, which we have an 8-episode character creation mini-series that exists on the Patreon, so you can hear, and we actually recorded it chronologically first. You can go hear us make up these characters as little kids.
I love them as kids so much. I still think about Tiny Suvi.
So seeing Tiny Suvi in the preludes, and then seeing the person that fucking murks Captain Emless and keeps the crew safe and scares off Adelaide and whips out the staff and calls to order, gets people into the chantry, finds you all safety, and that, gets the innkeeper. And then at the very end, it just ends on this very soft, who are you talking to? My dad. And it is heartbreak. It's Suvi, adult Suvi doesn't show you that soft nougaty center a lot. And it's very meaningful in that moment that it came so quickly. That's the
soft nougaty center. There's something about it.
Yeah.
I'm a Milky Way.
Ursulon.
Hilarious Carnival.
What's that?
Hilarious.
Wait, you didn't
You're
finish
gonna say
that sentence.
you're gonna say hilarious.
Finish that sentence.
Hilarious Carnival.
Yeah, the carnival where your dream of being a knight sees you opposite some actor playing a knight while you play the monster while wearing your true form.
See, but you're saying it in a way that's not as hilarious as it could have been. Anyway, what were you gonna say? We'll fight about this off mic.
The best part was, I think, the reaction that Ursulon had to seeing Ame and Suvi was actually Lou seeing Erika and Aabria be like, what? That was just 1-to-1. Just is this your thing? Jesus.
There's also that's actually also a brilliant move from Erika and Aabria as the two of them, because there's a little min-maxer brain where the part of you is like, oh, I know that if my character is judging Ursulon, because I'm reading the story. That's the weirdest thing about actual play, right?
Yeah,
All of us, we're all just like you listening right now. Every time we sit down to play, I'm excited to hear another chapter of my favorite story.
God,
'Cause I don't know what's gonna happen.
You can just sit and listen to the rest of you guys.
Yeah, it's just, I got the best seat in the fucking house watching the three of you. So it's but that moment where you could have, because there's a part of you that goes, if I am judgmental of Ursulon in this moment, it's gonna hurt him. But then both of you go, no. This is what my character.
You set them up too. It's
funny.
absolutely vicious. You go, what does Ursulon see on Ame and Suvi's faces? And then you both proceed to say the worst possible scenario.
Pity and contempt.
Yeah.
Is that what you wanted?
It's literally, it's like, that's the two flavors of the energy drink of these two. Of the pity from the witch and contempt. The wizard is like, what the fuck is this? And the witch is like, oh no, you're being taken advantage of. You're not big and strong. You're the victim. Like, oh god, hell, fucking hell, bottled, concentrated hell.
I think it was, and it was like we were supposed to be just watching, and you said if you had completed the rest of the play, it would be funny. But of course, we interrupted where the kids are booing, like in a pantomime, the kids are booing Ursula, and Alma's like, boo yourself!
Yeah, you yell, a guy thinks you're heckling, he doesn't understand the context.
The pitchfork?
learned yokel.
The learned yokel! Strongest NPC.
Strongest NPC. We'll find that learned yokel, yeah.
He's coming back.
That learned yokel is actually Arthur's nephew, and he helps him run the inn because there's so much business. My favorite Lou moment is post Derek. Favorite Ursula moment was post Derek, where Suvi has started to compartmentalize and rationalize. Ame has arrived at this is what's got to happen next, and totally shocked me. But in the best way of shocking, where I'm like, oh, that's inevitable, right? Like a shock that you go, of course. Which was Ursula being like, what the fuck can we do?
Yeah.
What can we do? And seeing the difference that as different as Ame and Suvi are, each of them had the benefit of an institution. Ame's institution was a single grandma, but what a grandma.
Yeah.
And
a brick shit house, an absolute unit.
The platonic ideal of a grandma.
Yeah.
and then Suvi has the Citadel, the most institution that ever institutionalized. and you see Ursula being like, that's the moment where all the things Ursula has said, like they talk about show don't tell, right? Like we have the inferred characteristic that Ursulon's had a hard time. That's showing us that Ursula had a hard time. Because if you've actually had a hard time, you don't go, yeah, let's take a huge risk that we have no idea if we're even capable of.
Well, and it's crazy because he even says, like, I'm scared. I'm scared of losing the little bit of happiness that I have. And that's the thing that in real life, nobody is willing to admit to themselves when they get angry.
And also the idea, too, of, like, there's a certain moment where if you're being heroic and you're like, wait, like, we're talking about saving people from Godzilla. I'm one of the people running and screaming on the street. Like, I am very much the kind of people that need saving. So this idea of like the life I've led, and I've been like hiding in barns, and fucking hedge mages are trying to run down and capture me, and like, you know, Pete's Dragon style, find out what of my organs are magical. Like, this is a fucking nightmare out here. Like, I don't want it. Like, I need help. And the idea of that coming from someone who then has that moment under the derrick with the sword, like that moment hit so much harder from a guy who said, I don't think I can do this. It's like, oof.
Hey, that's because we got time, baby. You know? It's crazy.
And then my Ame moment that I truly love so much is the entire scene with Orima in the chapel.
Oh my God.
Which I think is one of the most expert, clever, like every step on a 2-inch ledge, 40 stories up, choosing your words carefully without any hesitation. Like, because in that scene, I was trying as hard as I could to find a reason to come down like a ton of bricks. And really, as Brennan was like, if you say anything that provokes me or insults me, I am I'm like hanging by a thread. And you gave me no surface. There was no surface area I could touch. It was a perfect Nausicaa Ghibli heroine fucking beat for beat scene of the kind of victory that you had said mattered to you in this story of, we are going to avoid destruction, understand everybody. And even the moment, especially that moment where you're talking to her and you are like, I am here to represent you and help you, and I cannot abandon the people of Port Talon, who I also represent. And you're like, oh, that's the character. And you walking out of that being a true witch and no longer an apprentice. It was like, that fucking
is incredible. Also, everyone, Erika's crying and should, because you fucking killed it. That was so great. So good.
I like storytelling so much. It's just so fun, and like, cannot belabor this point enough. that for $5 a month,
God damn it.
A weeping Patreon pitch.
It never stops.
experience some of the magic that we talk about.
I promise you, there is a visible tear
Oh,
on
yeah, yeah,
Erika's
yeah.
face. I'm
Erika-
not fucking with you. It's not a bit.
For $5, you can see a bad picture of Erika crying that I just heard.
Oh God, it's just such a privilege. Can I just say too, the fox was one of
God.
one of the most surprising things. Originally, I thought that the fox would be, a silent familiar, and that it was going to be like an excuse to talk out loud, and I would be piloting him in combat and such. And instead,
He's the little guy of all fucking time.
he's
Oh my God.
the little guy.
Damn.
I love him so much. I love him so much, and it's so uncanny to me how Brennan, you just play him. He's so perfect. He's so perfect. He's just a little guy, and he cares so much, but he just doesn't understand. And also, originally, the original concept for Ame too was oh, she's a trickster. Oh, she's fun. And you see that a little bit more in the kids campaign because immediately right off the bat, when you meet Ame, she
Okay, calm down, cock ring.
Okay, well, 10 minutes after you meet Ame, she is burdened with great responsibility and having to show up.
Yeah.
But in the children's adventure, you see how sort of wild and mischievous she is. We were like, oh well, we need that to counteract the sad boy.
Damn, the fox exists just for you.
Yeah,
dog.
no, it was originally supposed to be Ame, but then Ame, in some ways, the fox coming in and being the mischief of Ame, was incredible because sometimes the fox will say things where it's even the part in Port Talon where the fox runs away because that's what Ame wanted to do.
Yeah.
The fox is, we said, witches, familiars, turns out, are the thing that they need to work on.
Yeah. Well, it feels like there's something sort of fascinating about the idea of I knew that I wanted witches familiars to be more than you have a mechanical animal that helps you, right? Hey, check it out. I have a help action with 2 hit points.
Right.
I didn't want that. To me, the idea of what is the actual narrative of this in the world? And my favorite types of familiars have been those that have a very delineated relationship where, for example, in his Dark Materials, it's literally understood that the demons are your soul. That is your soul, and it takes a certain form. After you hit puberty, it fixes in a static form. There's something about witches familiars in this world as an element of your personality that you put into an external thing.
Yeah.
Based on some kind of relationship. It's a type of compartmentalization, almost like you're carrying too many bags and you're here, you carry this.
Yeah.
Right. So you're like, I don't, because, Ame is the little girl who put "be kind" on her wall. And so it feels like there's a mission. Her version of Ursulon's quest or Suvi's Citadel legacy, her parents, is this little thing of "be kind" on the wall. And that's what Ame has sort of given herself. And it feels like Witch's whole deal is this liminal space being between 2 worlds. So you're I am going to take "be kind" onto myself, and that's my project. And here's this other thing that I'm giving away to make room for "be kind," and the fox is going to carry all of the mischief, which is a cool way of thinking of a dual purpose soul, of the relationship you have to your familiar. And it begs the question, what the fuck was Taro? And the idea of
Grandmother Wren's mischief and her playfulness.
Yeah.
The things she had to put away when she's so many things for so many people and stretched so thin. And that's why Taro runs around and lets us try to catch him and then shows up somewhere else and fucks around with Ame in the morning. He's all the ways in which Grandmother Wren wished she could be more playful with Ame.
Yeah.
And it's just so sweet. So good.
I love it.
Fucking Taro.
I love it.
It's important to have a nemesis.
Oh my God, it's so important to have a nemesis. That's so cute. The kids say things. The
kids say things.
So cute.
Just a shout out to the children's adventure because it becomes this beautiful well of like, here's a thing that I can reference in my character later that like people can point at. That's like, this is a thing that like stuck a little too hard. Like, did Suvi remember it's important to have a nemesis a little too hard for the rest of her life? That's a thing we might find out later and be like, I learned a lesson and I don't remember where I learned it, but I'm just walking around with a paradigm in my head that I don't remember how I got. But
oh my
it has
God!
been true.
Right of the if you cry, it'll. What was it? What was it when?
If you're good, the adults will treat you more kindly.
Yeah. No. But there's also from like when she's crying with Ursula and Grandma Ryan is like, oh, don't you shouldn't cry on him or something. You're like, oh.
Yeah, was that like a not trying to wash you? I don't remember.
That I also I
Yeah.
feel like I have
Something
thoughts. Well, like I have a memory of that moment.
Don't cry on Ursula. Yeah, that's the thing. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, don't get eye stuff on you. I don't know why. Maybe you'll die.
I don't know. Somebody will let us know. But in any event, there's still so many more questions. So many more questions to respond to. We don't necessarily all have all the time for. What are we looking forward to in Arc 2 without giving anything away? What are we looking forward to for our characters or for the world or for, what are our hopes and dreams for the future?
I just don't want anything bad to happen to Suvi ever again.
Oh.
Yeah, I think I'm hoping we kind of wrap this all up in Arc 2, you know?
Oh yeah,
Like everyone just gets like a 2-bedroom condo.
Yeah.
Like a fun dog or Ame's already got the fox and
I've got a cool
and like
dog,
a middle class job and we all just kind of make our
kicks it.
I still want 100 more episodes, but I want them to be utterly conflict free.
Yeah.
That's the funniest thing. I'd be honestly,
farming
you and the
sim.
whole internet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just
all of
This is
that
like
there.
comfort media.
All of-
Please do not challenge.
Yeah, Wizard, the Witch, and the Wild One, the farming sim.
You're not going to be out here mining bells or whatever the hell you people do.
I'm clicking cookies, bitch. Don't worry about me.
I am
All right.
clicking septendecillion cookies right now.
Are you still doing it?
God.
Let me just open up.
No.
Sep
That's very
10-decillion?
fun.
Hold on. Right now, I am currently baking 22.991 sexdecillion cookies per second.
That's very fun. That's very fun. I never got into Cookie Clicker. Adventure Capitalist was always mine.
Adventure capitalist?
Yeah, it's just lemonades. It's the same thing, but dollars. And you're just clicking, and then you buy things that make more money, and then you like reset. It just feels good to watch a thing happen.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm a part of that,
I
kind of.
run around in Ghost of Tsushima. Like sometimes if there's a thing that needs doing, I'll do it, but mostly just me running through fields.
Yeah, just vibes.
Yeah.
Just vibes.
Blood Moon, cooking sim. It's
Yeah.
my Zelda experience
That's
every time.
I spent like 40 hours cooking. Anyway, like this does bring me to the point of like it is nice just to have cozy moments, and I think that's a thing that I enjoy the most in this, and I do look forward to in the future, like the little moments, all of the burning questions we have about the curse on Ame and on about Suvi's parents and about will Ursula never get a chance to return home?
Oh, gosh.
Will the fox get a good rubbish heap? All these good questions, but then also it's just the little moments like of like us sleeping on the potatoes or like folding laundry in the little peasant's cottage.
I like that part. I'm just better with the task.
I have a question I want to pose here. So we're talking a little bit about the children's adventure, which again, Jules asks, thanks, Jules, for the question. If the young versions of our heroes from the children's adventure met their adult selves at the end of chapter 1, what would they think of them?
Someone else go first.
Gosh. I mean, Ursula, I think, would be. Now at the end of chapter 1, at the end, right? With Wavebreaker, with his friends. I mean, I think that there's a lot that young Ursulon would admire about current Ursulon. I do think mine would be mostly positive. Like, there is something to, I mean, I'm not a knight. I don't have a horse. I'm not Sir Curran, but I have a 6 sword and I'm still with my best friends. So I do think young Ursulon would be like pretty tight, dude.
Oh, that's really cute.
Love that. I love that.
Yeah, I also think Ursulon has pretty low expectations. I guess maybe
Damn.
if anything, there's like, whoa, we're still here. Like, maybe there's a little bit of that.
Yikes.
But I think like coming to accept that we are still here, then it's like, oh, okay, well, we have a sword. We're with our friends. Not bad.
I think this question would be, this is the operative point here is comparing like the Children's Adventure or like, as Jules, the way the question is actually worded, at the end of Arc 1.
Yeah.
The end of Arc 1, beginning of Arc 1.
I mean, he'd think he's hilarious. That performance is incredible.
It's funny.
It's funny.
I think little Ame and Ame currently would just be two absolute firecrackers. Like, it would be bad and explosive. Like, they would cause so much mayhem. Like, if little Ame had the fox, like, I just, like, can you imagine? Because little Ame has the time and the wherewithal to have as much mischief in her body as the fox has. And so if the two of them get together...
Oh, double barrel shenanigans.
Yeah. And then, because, like, you still see it in Arc 1, even especially, well... Arc 1 is in a coma.
Yeah, at the end, just like, oh no, I'm asleep. That's really funny.
Oh,
That's actually really
Damn,
funny.
wake up, Ame.
Yeah.
Ame, I'm trying to see what's going on.
Oh God. Okay, you go next.
That's really funny.
I'll throw so this is like
Yeah.
my little like
Ooh, get in
my this is me like doing my like I'm trying to insight check your guys' characters. I think Ursulon meeting end of Arc Ursulon exactly as Lou described it. I think little Ursulon meeting beginning of Arc Ursulon really rough for little Ursulon.
Oh, yeah. Oh, terrifying.
Terrifying. I think Ame beginning or end of not end, she is asleep.
Well,
like
yeah.
end or beginning of Arc 1, Ame I think is rough for adult Ame. I think adult Ame
Oh shit.
is because I think looking and seeing precocious firecracker little like, yeah, I'm running around, I made a friend, here we go, we're going to the woods.
That's so true.
And then you have adult Ame that's like, I'm taking care of the world. Like, I think
It's true. That's true, because I feel like little Ame would be like, oh my God, we're taking care of the whole world. We're a full witch. Like, we've got a little fox guy and he's the best. And we eat raw fish together. Like, it would just be very cute.
Yeah.
But yeah, adult Ame is like, damn, why can't I go run around in the woods with those two?
But also, like, what a traumatized little girl.
Yeah, and
Oh,
I think looking and being like, oh, this kid, I don't know, like the idea of like looking back at your past self and being like, hey, there are some haymakers on your way. Look out! Some stuff's coming. Like that idea of
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
what about Pursuit?
I like this pointing in both directions. I think little Suvi looks at adult Suvi, learns in that moment, hey, your parents died, the Citadel and Steel raise you. You found your friends again, and they led you in an adventure that's leading to your court martial. You're going back under bad terms. I think little Suvi would be like, this all went wrong, and that's crazy. And then I think adult Suvi would look back at little Suvi and go, I do not recognize you. I think there's something really important in the things you have to put away in order to be who you need to be. And she'd be like, that's just a small child. Like, I think she would treat that the same way you meet, like, your cousin's kid that you're like, I guess I know you. We have a passing resemblance, but I don't feel anything. important about that.
Woo!
Yeah.
Got him. Dude.
Got him.
Got him.
Hey, Lou, is that funny or sad?
Now that's hilarious. Capital H hilarious.
I'm glad the spirit of Lou has possessed
That's a full
our
LO.
friend Jonathan.
Also, my name is Jonathan Venus. I'll respond to Lou to keep up with everything.
Gosh, you gotta
That's
Yeah.
okay.
It's
I
called
understand.
acting.
Yes.
I understand.
Acting.
I don't want to ruin the flow. So,
Oh, sorry, Mr.
Yeah.
Venus. So sorry.
Yeah.
again, you can call me John.
John.
What about Johnny? What about JB?
Absolutely fucking not.
Okay, fair.
Okay, so I think we gotta wrap it up now. But
Wait, there's one question that we really got to. I would really feel sad if we did.
oh yeah,
This one's from Ogre Salad. Thank you.
I was
Yeah.
gonna. That's what
Yeah.
that was.
Oh,
yeah.
sorry. Go for it.
No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
no, no, no. I want to hear you say it.
Ogre Salad asks, thank you, Ogre Salad. So far in all of Arc 1, which character or NPC canonically has the juiciest dumper, the fattest booty, the widest trunk, which may or may not be full of junk?
Incredible.
Here's the thing. So which character or NPC canonically has the juiciest dumper? I know who it is. Do you
It
guys
better
know?
Do you
not be
actually-
Moro.
you-
It
It's
better
Moro.
not
It's
be
100%.
Is it
Moro.
actually?
Obviously.
Who has the juiciest dumper? Moro?
Wearing robes, you can see it from the
Maro's
front.
double fucking caked up. Yeah.
Just fucking on the side. It's like,
Bro, when Maro bops up and down with excitement, you're just here.
oh my God.
It's great.
Now I feel like now that you've gotten here, before Arc 2 comes out, go home, re-listen to the Morrow episodes and just listen, because Taylor they're in there. Taylor put those little claps in there. You just missed it.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Wait, why is the answer not like human glamour Naram?
Because he hates us.
Yeah, it's
because
fucked up.
he-
It's fucked up.
Because he is
fucked
against
up.
the monster fucker
Hate it.
agenda.
Hate it.
Wait, who are the top 3 dumpers?
Yeah,
Top three
yeah,
numbers.
top three.
Also, I fucking hate the word dumpers.
Yeah, I do too.
What are the top 3 bouteilles?
Bouteilles. Top 3 bouteilles that we've seen thus far.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
haven't seen them.
Okay.
We haven't
Yeah.
seen, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm
Clocked.
gonna go,
We haven't seen them.
clocked.
Yeah.
Okay. Top 3. Moro number 1.
Yeah.
Woo.
I feel like Steel's tight. She keeps it tight.
I don't know how caked up we are in the Citadel.
Yeah, I think she's just got a good, a well-shaped
Yeah.
face, but not a
She could like
not a
bounce
bouteille.
together.
No, it's not a boutique.
Yeah.
It's not a boutique.
bounce a mark
It's
off
not
of
a boutique.
those. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Moro number 1.
Mm.
Number 2.
Willie Gallows. Willie Gallows is a sickly.
See, now I'm like spinning
You're
out,
actually-
putting too much thought into it.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the top. Here are the top 4.
Oh,
And
okay.
I'm gonna let you put them in
our order. Got it.
in the order
Okay,
you want.
But
Yes.
unequivocally, number 1 is Moro.
Tomorrow. Yeah. for sure.
Moro is number 1. So basically, here we're going 2, 3, 4.
Yes.
And it is Galani.
Oh.
Oh!
I think it goes like this. I think it's Galani.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think up there is also the mustachioed bartender from the Ace of Wands.
Wow.
Yes! Ursula
He's got
has
ass.
a type.
He's got ass.
Wow.
And then I think Stealth, Arlie Price.
Oh,
Price.
okay.
Now, if I could just make a quick, brief request
Yeah.
for anyone who's an animator out there, if you could draw Morrow or animate Morrow just twerking on top of the derrick,
Yes.
that nothing. I don't think anything would make me happier.
100%.
Just a full, feet on the wall, just twerk over
Yeah.
over
just-
Naram trapped
pussy popping
below.
over Naram.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
Yes. All wizards do that. It's our excessive display. We're just like, yeah, this is how you establish dominance.
Exactly. Yes.
Blah.
That
so
really
good.
threw me off. I really had never thought
wasn't
about
ready for
Morrow's
that.
butt.
I did.
I think that there's a thing where people go like, because the question presupposes
Yeah.
this like, oh, who's got the thickest rear end, and you're thinking of attractiveness, but it's like, well, if you're compartmentalizing to these individual body, like, you don't conceptualize of Moro as an attractive character, but that's not the question. The question, you pinpointed it, and It's a roll of the dice, and Morrow he's got some shorts that say juicy on the back.
Let's fucking go. It must be your ass because it's not your face.
There it is. Brennan, who's got the biggest ass? The juiciest dumper.
The juiciest dumper
in Arc 2.
In Arc 2. Okay, little. This is a little flash forward. This is
wow,
this is the best
the
question.
slimmest tease. I want nobody talk about what they're excited about in Arc 2, but who's got a good ass?
Yeah.
In Arc 2. Oh, I know exactly who it is.
Really?
Mr. Raccamonte.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rosario Raccamonte.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Can't wait for you all to meet that ass.
All right, everybody, for this and more asses, please continue to listen to Worlds Beyond Number or join us on the Fireside. Thank you. I love you all so much. And folks at the table, an absolute honor. I'm Erika Ishii. Crackle, crackle, and a hoo-hoo.
Hey, it's your boy JV. It's been a pleasure meeting you guys on the public. I hope to see more of you by the Fireside. Crackle, crackle, is that what we said?
Yeah, that's crackle,
Okay,
crackle.
crackle, crackle, and a hoo-hoo.
I'm Aabria Iyengar. This is just my favorite thing in the whole world. Thank y'all so much. Crackle, crackle.
Hey, it's Brennan. What a joy, an honor, and a privilege to be by the Fireside with you all. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for enjoying the pod. And coming up very shortly, Chapter 2 of The Wizard, the Witch, and the Wild One. Only here on Worlds Beyond Number. Crackle, crackle, hoo-hoo!
Like,